Okay, so this is our lesson for Domain 1.1 for Word Expert. You should have downloaded the instructions, and I'm going to walk you through these instructions, and then download the start file and the PDF that you will have to insert and use in the lesson. Okay, so obviously step one is just download the starter file and save it to your computer. So this is the starter file that we will be working with. Okay, there are several things that I'm going to go through that you will then be practicing in Geometrix. So the first is to customize the ribbon to display all the hidden ribbon tabs. So if you, a lot of these first domain ones are from options. So file and go to options. And then if you were going to customize ribbon, you can see on the right hand side, this is all of the menus and they are all checked except for one. So we did something like this. Let's also show up kind of in Excel if you need the developer tab. Then it tells you to add the developer tab. That's how you go and add a developer tab. So if I check that and I add it, now it has that menu up here as well. Okay, so that was the only hidden ribbon tab. Number 3 is customize the quick access toolbar to include open, copy, and cut. So the quick access toolbar is this up here. So things I can access quickly. There are a couple ways to do it. This little drop down arrow, you can just click and select what you want. Another way is to go to File Options, and you can see all of the options that you could add for quick access toolbar here. So there are more options here to look through, and then so if it tells you something that's not in that quick drop down from originally, so we are doing open, copy, and cut. So let's look for open first, and they should be alphabetical. So here's open, then I click add, and then we'll add it over here. Let's go to the C's for copy, add that, and cut, add that. Okay, then I hit OK, and now these are added up here. So these are little quick, instead of going through the menus and finding what I need to find, I can just quickly access them up here. Okay, next, there's going to be a lot of different styles and editing styles. The first one is edit the title style to use red accent to darker 25%. So on the home tab is where you're going to find your styles. Our styles here, whichever one it tells you, the first one would be the title style. So if you right click on that, there's a modify button. So if it ever tells you to edit one of the styles, then you're going to modify it. And it is going to tell you to use red accent to darker 25%. So that's our color. Now, since it's using accent to darker 25%, if you hover over them, they will tell you the name of them. And so that's going to be one of the variations in the shades. So there is red accent to darker 25%. So I just changed that color and I hit OK. And then now notice anything with that style, the color actually changes. Enable all macros for this document. So this is something you'll see in Word or Excel. If you go to File Options, again, that is in the options. You actually in this menu, you don't see anything for macros. You have to remember to go to Trust Center. Trust Center is where our macro settings are located. And then it says Enable all macros. So we're going to choose that one and hit OK, and hit OK again. Another one on the, let's see, on the View tab. Okay, oh, I guess it's not here. On the Developer tab, let's see if it's here. Macro Security is another quick button that will take you directly to that menu. But you do have to have the Developer tab to see Macro Security and quickly go to that. So that's another way to get to it. Okay. Number 6 is change the normal template default font to be Times New Roman size 12. So if I want to go to the Home tab, pull up my font menu, okay, I change whatever I want as the default font. So right here, it says we're going to do Times New Roman size 12. So my font, just leave the Asian text font alone. But for my regular font, we're going to do Times New Roman, and we're going to do size 12. And then before you hit OK, if you just hit set as default, okay, and you can say, it says change the normal template default. So all documents based off of this normal template, and we'll hit OK. And then now notice my document has changed that default font. Okay, next we're going to embed a PDF. So it says we need to embed that PDF that was attached in the Schoology anti-harassment policy statement after the work environment section, and then link the PDF to the file. So after the work environment section. Is that what it is? Yeah, work environment section. So after the work environment section, I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to embed something here. Now, a lot of times you might think it'd be insert and you put something in there. It is on the insert tab, but it's not inserting something from the illustrations. If you come over here in the text here, we want to insert an object. Okay, the text from a file will just pull the text, but we actually want the PDF itself. So we're going to go pull an object, and we will say create from file, and this is where you go browse, and you can go to your downloads, since you should have already downloaded it, and then find that one and insert it. Okay, now before you press OK, you're going to hit link to file. Most of the time you would just display as icon, because that will just create a little PDF icon that people can click on. I'm not going to do that because the instructions didn't say that, and so what it will do is it will actually show the whole PDF in the file. Again, most of the time you'd probably just want display as icon, so we'll just put a little PDF icon and people can click on it. But we do want to link it to the file, so any changes that are made in that original file will also update here. So again, it puts the whole document in here, which is fine for now. Again, if you want a little PDF icon that they just click on so it's not the whole document, it would take them to that. So then you should see that document here. Okay. Next, number 8, change the headings, value, and ethics, work environment, and drug and alcohol to be heading 1 style. So all of these, we have values and ethics. If we want to change the style, that's on the home tab. There's a styles drop down, and we are doing, I think, heading 1 style. Is that what it is? Yes. So we're going to change it to the heading 1 style. So I click on that. Same for work environment. We'll go to styles. We'll do heading 1 style, and also the drugs and alcohol heading. Change that to certain styles. So all of your styles that you'd be doing would be on that home tab. Okay, fix any spelling errors in the document. You should know how to do that. You just go to the review tab, and we have a spelling and grammar check right here. So if I click that, okay, it will walk me through each individual one. Well, Fusion Tomo is a company name. So if it's something that's like, oh, that's a company name, I don't need to change that, you can just hit ignore once. It will go to the next one. Okay, if I read the sentence, and therefore your actions are important, but during, it's supposed to be but. So it will give you a consideration here. If that's what I want, then I click that and it will change it. Okay. So there are a couple more spellings. There's environment, change that. Harassment, I'm going to change that. Fusion Tomo is the name, so I'm going to ignore that. Ignore again. Ignore again. And now I have a check next to spelling, so everything is good there, and I can exit out of this editor. Okay. So now we're going to save this document as lesson 1.1 revised. So file, I'm going to save it. Okay, some of you do it in downloads. If you have a file folder that you're saving stuff, then you can save it in there, and we'll save it as revised. Lesson 1.1 revised. So I'm going to save that. Okay. Now we're going to compare the original document with the revised document. So in Word, on the Review tab, there is this Compare button, okay, on the far right. It is in the Compare section. So there's a Compare and Combine. So it may ask you to combine 2 documents, and it will show kind of the revisions and the difference between them and put them together. But we are comparing 2. So when you pull up this menu, there's 2 boxes here you're going to fill in with you select the documents that you want. So our original document, you will go and choose that original file that you downloaded, which in my case was, I'm going to do the starter file. Okay. And then your new one is the revised one that we saved. Okay, now, most of the time it may not tell you these specific things, the comparison settings to change, so you would leave all those boxes checked. But this right here, down here at the bottom, is usually what it tells you to change. In this case, it says to save compare the original document with the revised document, save the resulting document showing the changes made as comparison. So we're going to save it as a new document, okay, and we're going to call that comparison. So I'm going to hit OK. And so now notice I have 3 documents. It shows the original over here, the starter file, it shows the revised, and then the compared document here it will show like changes made. So anything that's kind of different, it's almost like tracking changes. So you can see some of your spelling changes here, things like that. Okay. So this compared document right here, if you want, you can exit out of these other documents. Okay. It shows those track changes. We changed the heading, we changed the font, that kind of stuff. It shows all those track changes. So this one, you're going to go File, Save As, and you're going to call this one, whether you save it into, you know, your downloads or wherever you normally save it, or if you have a file folder like me. Let's see. Okay, we're going to call it Comparison. Now, a lot of times these new computers are saving it as open doc text. Make sure you have that file type as a Word document. I'm not sure why it's changing that. But we always want our files to be the Word documents when we're doing this. I'm not sure why Microsoft is defaulting to that. So we're going to call it Comparison. So this comparison one, make sure it's a file type of a Word doc. We're going to save that. And that is what you will upload to Schoology. Okay, this document with the comparison to show the differences. Okay, so hopefully that helps with walking you through it for lesson 1.1.